Welcome to the Cross the Line Podcast. My name is Carlos Smith, and today's episode is sponsored by KB's Car Care on 321 North Main Street in Jonesville, South Carolina. They have a hand car wash, vacuum, and clean interior. Full detail is also available. While you wait on your vehicle, customer seating is available as well as the dining area. They open Tuesday to Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., so make sure you stop by. Today's episode is also sponsored by Big Ben's Desserts. If you need to satisfy your sweet tooth, this is the place for you. They have a wide variety of desserts, including cakes, ice cream, banana pudding, and my personal favorite, the Oreo cheesecake. They open Tuesday to Saturday from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. and Sunday from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. So stop by and visit Big Ben's Desserts on 297 Spartanburg Highway in Lani, South Carolina, where nothing could be sweeter. So today, once again, we are still out here in Hollywood for the Cross the Line Podcast Self-Investment Tour. I have a very special guest with me today. We are here at the Laugh Factory. This is a special episode, just talking to you earlier about how I started from where I was in my dad's backyard in the storage building to being at the Laugh Factory. It's crazy. It's a blessing.
Chocolate Sundaes.
Chocolate Sundaes. And so I have a very special guest with me today. Her name is Miss Lani Crooks. How are you?
I'm great.
Man, I thank you for taking the time and inviting me out here. I know some stuff was going on. We didn't know if we were going to be able to make it happen and then things changed, but thankfully you were able to make the time to sit down and have a conversation. And I want to just tell you kind of how I actually put everything together. So I remember about 3-4 years ago, I did an interview with Desi Banks. And so I followed him, and I saw that one day he posted about, coming out here to the Laugh Factory for a show or something. So I was like, you know what, man, let me just kind of do some research. I started digging, looked up the Laugh Factory, and I was just trying to find somebody who was tied in with it. So once I found it, that's what I was trying to choose. And so that's kind of how it got started. And once we went back and forth a little bit, and you talked to me, willing to give me an invite out here, so they helped me out a lot. So thank you for taking the time to sit with me today.
Yes, and I just have to correct everybody. We're Chocolate Sundaes. We're not the Laugh
Chocolate
Factory.
Sundaes.
Yeah,
okay.
It is a very big distinction.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay.
Yeah,
thank you.
because we're our own company. We basically contract out the Laugh Factory. So the Laugh Factory is the venue, but our company is Chocolate Sundaes, and we're the show on Sunday nights.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you for fixing it. Chocolate Sundaes. So for the people watching this interview, if you had to describe yourself, who is Lani Crooks?
Who is Lani? Oh wow. Where do I start? I think most people would say that I'm a really hard worker. I've always been a hustler, like the type of person that always had more than one job and always working, like going through school and always having a job from when I was like 12, basically. Yeah, I think I'm about my business. I'm trustworthy. I never play with people's money. I'm reliable. I'm always on time. That's what people would say about me.
And where are you originally from?
No, I've been all over. My dad was in the military, and my parents divorced early, so he raised me a little bit. I moved back and forth a lot, but mostly I grew up in Alaska.
Cold. So, what was your early childhood like? Did you have any siblings or anything?
No, just me, and I grew up with just my dad, pretty much. So we didn't really have any family up there either. We have a really small family, so it was just my dad and I in Alaska.
And what kind of things early on kind of like did you gravitate towards? Was it sports?
I've always been really into sports. But I played like the random ones, but I've always been like athletic and active. But tennis was kind of like my main thing. And then I played golf, swam, I was in the dance team. I did a lot of stuff. But I was like really into school too.
Did you know early on, growing up, what you kind of wanted to be growing up or not?
No, well, I used to always say that I wanted to run BET. Like that was like the goal. I said, because I used to always just like watch music videos like every night, like the uncut ones, like late at night. Yeah. That's like all I ever did. So that's what originally I said that I would do.
And this is still like the perfect location, with the BET Awards going on and everything. Do you do anything related to them now, or just strictly?
No, the shows are always on a Sunday, so our show is usually pretty crazy during that weekend. But no, we're not affiliated with them.
So growing up, did you have, you said it was kind of like you and your dad, did you have any mentors or anybody that you looked up to that gave you any kind of advice?
No, not really. I didn't have one until I got a lot older. Like I had a mentor that just passed a couple years ago, and my boss here, Pookie, is a mentor of mine.
So what kind of early on, like, so you did you was anybody in your family kind of like doing entrepreneurship, or you kind of like the first in line to kind of?
Well, no, you know what? I'm lying. My mom. How could I forget her? But she wasn't in my life a lot, but she is like, and that's why. Like she was really just always about her money, and that's why she wasn't really around. She was, but yeah, she definitely is. I mean, she still is now. Like she has several companies.
Oh, okay. What kind of jobs would you say that you kind of like took on? You know, kind of like after school and everything. When you were trying to find your way.
Like after college?
Yeah, after college.
So my first, well, I started interning at Chocolate Sundaes actually. Like I moved down here freshman year of college, and that like second semester I started interning for Chocolate Sundaes. And then Pookie wound up hiring me, so I was working part-time. Then my main thing was I worked in country clubs. I was in membership and marketing for country clubs.
What school did you attend out here?
To USC.
USC? Oh, okay.
I went to Long Beach State first from Alaska. I went there for 2 years, and then I transferred to USC.
So when did you after doing interning in college, did you kind of, after that, did you know kind of like this was what you wanted to do, or were you still trying to find your way?
I was trying to find my way, but like I said, I knew I wanted to be in some kind of, not entertainment necessarily, because like I said, I don't like being like attention on me, and I never wanted to be in front of the camera. But I think my life, everything I've done has always been about other people having a good time. Like I really like to cook. I wanted to like DJ at one point. I was, doing parties at country clubs. Like everything was about having other people have a good time. So I knew it was around that. But yeah, I came to a show. I found out about the show because I came to one. Because a friend of mine, the one that's coming actually, he was promoting it. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then I just wanted to be a part of it. So I guess from like the beginning, I always wanted like to be a part of Chocolate Sundaes.
Did you ever have anything where, a lot of times for most people, they work jobs, just to kind of like work, pay the bills, and they're not really fulfilled with what they're doing. They just do it, kind of just to get by. Did you have any of those kind of jobs, working, where you may not have felt necessarily like fulfilled or anything?
Well, I mean, all of them before this one, pretty much everything. And the struggle, I think, for people like me is where we're like above average at everything. Like you're like a competent person, you consider yourself pretty intelligent, competent, whatever. So everything it kind of comes easily. So then it's hard to figure out what your passion is because you don't suck at anything to like cross it off the list. You're like, oh, this could work. And you try to make it work for a little while, but it's like it doesn't really fulfill you, like you said.
Do you ever still at moments have like sometimes struggle with like self-doubt, like just like, I'm not sure if this is the right thing, or just have moments where you're like, am I really being fulfilled, or do you just have moments of doubt when you just have those bad days?
No, not anymore. I did though, but like I told you, I found this is my thing, so I don't feel like that anymore. But prior to, yeah, I would hate going to work every day. I got to the point where I hated it.
Right. When did you know for you it was time to like make that jump, like take a leap of faith, and just go all in on like?
So it was, I was working the country club job. I had been there, I moved to the corporate office from the country club, but I had been at that job, I think, 5 years. And I was trying to, I came back. So I was doing both at one point. I was doing the corporate thing, like I was in the office like 7 a.m. to like 6 p.m. corporate office. Hi. Yeah. So I was in the corporate office like 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then I would work Chocolate Sundaes on Sundays. And I used to talk to Pookie about it and set it up and be like, because Chocolate Sundaes wasn't at its, like, it wasn't hitting on all cylinders. Like, it was always a great show, but, the crowd was, some nights would be at like 50, 60% capacity. And I used to always look at it like, this show should be sold out every night, both shows. And so I talked to Pookie and we kind of came up with a plan, and I just started saving money for like a year to just be able to like quit and just leave. And yeah, after a year, I saved up enough where for 6 months I can make no money and still survive. And then then I finally took the plunge. But it was like, I'm very risk averse, so that was like really scary. Like, I'm really about to go from making 6 figures to like nothing, So
and that's why I was gonna ask you, were you nervous at all?
oh yeah.
And the thing that it seems like, a lot of times, like, you just bet on yourself. It's like you put your back against the wall, and once you stepped out there, it paid off for you because you just went all in on the dreams. And a lot of times, people, kind of straddle the fence, like try to do both, and then all of a sudden it's like it gets to that point. Well, I actually had a situation. For me, even coming out here, I had a situation where I was working, and it kind of got to a point where they were like, we don't know if we're going to do this time off, I need you here, but I'm like, I just told them honestly, I was like, you know what, the job that I have now, I've been there for 9 years since I was in college, my junior year in college, and I just told them, hey, I spent the last 9 years building somebody else's dream, so now I want to build my own. And so I got a little bit of pushback, but they finally said, we're just going to let you have it, go do what you have to do. But it's just, for me, I was like, I bet on myself this long, and I just had to keep on going for myself. But,
so what's the dream?
For the dream for me? Oh, man, I always say, man, for me, I want to be like a businessman. So, of course, like, I started in broadcasting, but I see myself with continuing the podcast, the book. Like, I have my first book that's out already. I'm gonna have a children's book coming out. I want to have a creative center. That's something like in the South where I am. Like, for most people, it's like we kind of get content, just working a 9 to 5 and not going investing in ourselves with it. So I want a creative center where people can come in and kind of like work on their crafts, like whether it's writing a book or if you want to do create like a movie, sketch, write your own, anything like that, where people just come collaborate and just work on their dreams and build their dreams at the center like that. And I also want to travel and speak to the kids, speak to people about going after the dream, because I think that's so important. Because for me, I just had my parents always wanted what was best for me. But it was just kind of like, it was pretty much doing the same thing they did, working 9 to 5, stay there and retire. But I was like, life is more than just picking up a paycheck. So I was like, I had to go all in on what I want to do. So the podcast and the book is part of everything that I'm doing. Plus, I would be able to have like that creative center, like a creative space where entrepreneurs can come in and work on their gifts. So that's part of the dream.
So the center is the dream, and you're gonna fund it by a successful podcast and a book and motivational speaking.
Everything. I have a journal every day, and I write these things. I say, I will travel the world, interviewing the greatest minds and inspiring millions of people. So I write that every single day in my notebook, and I just keep telling myself that even on days where I get a little nervous and I question things, like I still have that in my mind. Like, I know I can do it. I just got to keep on going, and I just can't give up on the trail.
Well, I read a lot of like self-help books, and that's like the thing that they always say is, put write down your goals every day and like look at them every day. That's like in every single book.
Oh yeah,
that's what they always say.
Mm-hmm. And I'm reading right now. I have a book called Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy, and it's basically talking about stop procrastinating, because when you procrastinate, you put things off, and you just delay your dreams or whatever that you want to do in life. And it's basically talking about eat the biggest, ugliest frog, which is like maybe like one of the hardest things that you may fear doing. Like whether it's reaching out, doing cold calling, picking somebody's brain about anything, just about like job opportunity, anything. Whatever you fear the most, get those things done early in the day and stop procrastinating. Because a lot of times you say, I'll do this later, I'll do it another time, maybe tomorrow, and then the longer you put it off, the longer you delay your dream. So that's one of the books that I'm reading right now. It's kind of like like I was telling you about coming out here. A lot of times I'm in my own head because I was talking to my brother. I said this in my last interview. I told him, I said, hey man, I got an opportunity to go do some interviews in Hollywood. So I was telling him everything, and he was like, okay, so what's stopping you? And I said, really? Nothing really. He's like, okay, well, go do it. So it was crazy. I was tracking flights out here because they were expensive. And next thing I know, like the next morning after we had the conversation, the price dropped me like $200-$300. So I just took that as a sign of like, you know what? I need to go out here and just take that chance and do it. So I booked the flight just like that, and then it was crazy because I booked the flight before I even contact you again about coming out here, and that's when you were like, you may be out of town on Sunday, so I'm like, dang, well, there goes that interview. But I still had a book. And, I just kept on reaching out to other people about doing interviews, so I ended up doing 2 other interviews. And then you reached out to me, and you asked me when I was still in town. So I was like, well, perfect. I'm out here already. You said you could do it. That plans changed, so we were able to get it done.
So which other ones have you done?
I did Miko Grimes. Do you know who that is? Her husband is Brett Grimes. He played in the NFL.
Okay.
She's very outspoken about everything, whether it's politics, sports, anything you think of. Like, she doesn't hold back at all. So that's gonna be a great interview that you gotta check out. And also, there's another young lady. She's a model. She's an entrepreneur. She actually she's from Connecticut. Her family's from Europe. She's first born in Connecticut. And she said, one day she just wanted to fulfill either. She's a bartender. And she told her parents about she wanted to be a model. And she just, she sold all of her things and moved out this way. And she said she's been out here maybe like 2 years now. So that was the other 2 interviews. And I was supposed to have another one with another gentleman who was part of the soccer team. He said he's out of the country right now, but I had to reschedule. We'll do that interview probably like in the next month or two. I had to fly back out here for that one. Because I like to do my interviews like face to face instead of like doing like over Zoom.
Yeah.
To me, it's not the same. It's not. You don't get to build that chemistry and energy face to face. So I mean, since I've been out here, I love the area. It's totally different from home, where I'm from. Like, it's like I just kind of like, I don't want to say star-studded, but it's amazing. It's like being in the same room with some of the people that I've seen, like some of the events that I've been to. So it's been an amazing feeling. The only thing that kind of sucked was, I was telling somebody else earlier, like not being able to have like my support system here with me. That's the only thing that kind of like down a little bit. Out here doing it on my own, which I can do it by myself, but it's just something to me about like having that support system being behind me. But I'm going to ask you about that as well. Do you feel like your support system did you have a support system?
No, it's so funny, like as you're talking about that, I've just always been the opposite. Like as you're saying it, I'm thinking like, I would love to just go on my own and not have anybody,
really?
But yeah, I've always been like that. I think maybe because, I told you my dad just raised me, so it was always just me. So I don't have a big family. I've always been like really independent. So I wouldn't need that. Like I moved down here from Alaska by myself.
Like I don't mind like going for a couple of days as far as like living. That'll be probably like the toughest thing for me to just kind of like actually live out here on my own. But I still have my kids, my baby, they come with me. The toughest thing is just kind of like out here, like all the way across the country. Like that's a big jump, but yeah, I was like, man, as much fun as I'm having, it would be nice to kind of have some of my people here with me. But it's like I couldn't continue to wait and put my dreams on hold because other people not able to make it. So I just kind of had to come out here and myself. It's still a blessing because I met some great people out here and we're having a great time. But that's probably like one of the only things, and that's what I'm saying, like kind of like getting in my own head, having those moments of self-doubt, and kind of just like being out on my own. Am I really, doing the right thing right now? I just try to keep a positive mind. It's scary at times.
LA is a very scary place too. It's a very scary and very expensive place.
Yeah. So how long did it take you a while to kind of like get acclimated to being out here in LA?
Not really, but I mean, I came down for school. I feel like it's a little different when you move somewhere for college because you're kind of like you get thrown into like a school and you have friends and, you know, I told you I worked. So it was kind of like just living, going to school all day and then working. So no, I didn't really feel like uncomfortable or anything.
So, did you ever have like a moment where you kind of felt like, okay, I know I made the right decision. I know that I can really make it out here. Was it like a particular moment for you?
No, I never really questioned that I would make it. It wasn't like but I didn't move like, oh, I'm gonna go make it in LA. I just moved like, I'm gonna go to school down there. Like I just did a bunch of college searches or college like questionnaires online, like, you know, what I wanted out of a school, like what I was interested in, and Long Beach State fit the description. I was like, oh, the weather's nice down there, I'll go check it out. So it was never like a big thing for me. It was just the next step. It was just like the natural next step.
What did you end up taking in school?
Communication.
So being here at Sundaes, what does it mean for you to kind of like be in this building? I know you said this was kind of like a laugh at you guys, this is out for Chocolate Sundaes, but what does it mean for you to just kind of like be in this building? So, you know, icons like that.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, it's not even just the comedians that are like icons and famous. It's all the comedians. Like the ones you don't know are the funniest. They're the hungriest. You know, they're still out grinding, and you know, it's like a dream. The job is a dream to laugh all the time. Like,
has it been anyone that you know, kind of been in this the space that you're in that you kind of that ever just like starstruck you when you first, you know, met anybody? Have you ever been like that towards anybody?
No, not really. I don't get starstruck really, which I think is good in my position. But no, I haven't ever really felt that. I'm trying to think. No.
I told a story the other day about, you know, when I was covering the Hornets. I was 22 at the time, and the first game I went to, after the game was over, we were walking down the hallway headed to interview the players and coaches. And we're walking one way, and the other way, Michael Jordan is coming down the hall. So to me, that was like one of the first times I was like, oh, this is Mike. You know, it's like the one that everybody calls the greatest basketball player of all time. So that was kind of like one of the own moments for me. But the best piece of advice I remember hearing was this lady was telling me, like, working in the media, she said, you know, these are your peers. And she said, don't put them on a pedestal, because if you do, you've already lost. And for the most part, like I said, they're human, like just like anybody else. They do the same things that we do, like family, everything. You just gotta treat them like you would everybody else. There's a few more questions and we'll get ready to wrap it up. For you, the state of comedy, I want you to talk about, like, how do you feel about the state of comedy right now?
Well, my current thought that I've been sharing quite a lot is, I think stand-up really in the past 5 years has been huge. I think like Netflix and Hulu and all the streaming has really gotten stand-up to where the recognition it deserves. But the other side of that is, I think that a lot of the comedy clubs now across the country are booking these social media stars that have numbers. So they're like, and those people aren't necessarily funny in stand-up.
Right.
So they're booking based off that, and so people are going to comedy clubs and they're not laughing because these people aren't funny.
Do you think that hurts comedy when they
Oh yeah,
book
definitely.
those guys?
Yeah, of course, when someone goes to a comedy show and they're not laughing.
Right. And I was gonna also say, like, kind of, to me, it's like it's in a weird space, because when you look at things like what Chris Rock and Will Smith and that incident, or Dave Chappelle, do you think those things kind of hurts comedy? Because it's almost like you can't really say certain things anymore because you don't want to offend. That kind of.
Well, that's in some spaces, but not here. I mean, people are still very, very politically incorrect here, and it is a personal decision by the comic. But like Alicia Cooper said a couple weeks ago, she's like, you can't cancel me, y'all motherfuckers don't know me. Like, I don't, like, what are you gonna cancel? And I mean, look at Dave. Dave is inappropriate as hell. I just saw him at the Hollywood Bowl. Oh, I was there when that happened, when he got.
Really? Oh,
yes.
man.
But all his jokes were so politically incorrect, and I loved it. I made a post about it. Like, he's the only one that really does that anymore, that goes super inappropriate.
Has that changed the way you guys had to handle business? Because when you see those things, it was like, comedians are not always, I guess they had their own security, but at times they have to worry about people coming up on stage. Did it got alter the way you?
No, I mean, we have security here, but those are very, very rare occurrences. It just happened to be 2 back-to-back, but you don't hear about that happening a lot.
So going forward, what would you say you expect like the stand-up industry to look like? Would you say you expect it to be more of those, social media guys that do the skits coming into it, or like what do you anticipate?
I mean, I just hope it continues to be more diverse. I think it has been more lately, but I mean, still the majority of specials you see on TV, the actors you see on TV and streaming channels, they're still predominantly white males in the comedy space. But I mean, it's been changing for the better slowly, and I just hope that it continues to get more diverse.
When we talk about changing the business, a couple years ago we had the pandemic. I guess it's somewhat safe to say we're still going through it, but it's like we're out of the worst part of it. How did the pandemic change the business dynamic for you guys?
Oh, well, it actually was kind of for the better. That year was horrible, or the year and a few months, but that's when our digital stuff took off, like YouTube and Facebook. Okay. We randomly had a couple videos that went viral on YouTube, and that's what started our whole digital business.
Mm-hmm. Just a few more questions. We're about to wrap it up. I know we gotta get ready for the show. Mm-hmm. What was the biggest sacrifice you said you've had to make? Or one of the biggest
sacrifice? Sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That would definitely be it.
And what would you say is some of the best advice that you received along your journey?
The best advice? I just got some really good advice from my boss recently. Pookie, the one that he executive produces the show. He's always giving me good advice, but we were talking about doing this business deal on this company that wanted to help us grow our YouTube and Facebook channels and stuff, but they wanted a really big percentage, and he was just like, no, if you know your worth, you won't make deals that don't make sense. And so, make sure you know your worth and stick to it.
What would you tell the younger Lani to do different?
What would I tell the younger Lani to do differently? Don't waste so much money. I'm very good with money, but I was getting some from my parents while in college, and I was working. So I was going out a lot, shopping a lot. I wish I could go back. If I would have just saved just a few $100 and invested it back then, I would be really, really well.
I spent a lot. Those refund checks from school, I was borrowing money that I needed some money to borrow from school, but then I would borrow extra just to have in my pockets. And I just took that money and you know what? I don't have to worry about it. This is 3-4 years from now. I worry about paying the money back later. So just took that money and just spent it on crazy stuff in school, like jewelry and everything. So that's one of the things I was you said about spending money. What advice would you give to anyone chasing their dream? They're scared to maybe take that leap of faith. What advice would you give them?
I would say pray a lot and make sure that's the right decision, and save a lot of money. It's never going to feel like the right time to do it. It's always going to be scared to take the leap, but have enough savings before you really go for it. Have enough savings to be comfortable not making any money for 6 months to a year. And then go for it.
Great advice. And then my final question, this is the Cross the Line podcast, self-investment tour. So the very last question I like to ask everyone is, what does self-investment mean to you?
Self-investment, to me, means taking care of yourself, your health, your financial health, your spiritual health, your mental health, physical health, all of that. Making sure all 4 or 5 of those areas in your life are taken care of.
Absolutely. Lani, I want to thank you for taking the time. I know you guys have a lot going on, but thank you for inviting me out here. This has been a great trip out here. I've been out here since Wednesday night. I'm getting ready to head back tomorrow night, but I really thank you for taking the time to invite me out here. Before we get out of here, can you tell everyone where to find you guys?
Chocolate Sundaes at Chocolate Sundaes everywhere. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube. That channel is hilarious. Yeah. And you can find me personally on at Lani Dotty, LaniDotty.
Absolutely. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Like I said, this has been a great trip for me. From where I started to where I am now, starting in the backyard to being all the way out here in LA with you guys. It's been a blessing for me. So thank you again.
My pleasure.
So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Cross the Line Podcast. It's a self-investment trip. Until next time, keep chasing your dreams. Thank you for listening.